They're eagerly pursuing this, and it's a war on you. Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the war on cash. It's a global war, one seemingly every nation on earth is involved in, and there's a reason they're pursuing this cashless society. But first, let's take a look at this right here. This is from yesterday on the Substack at brittgillette.substack.com. It's an article titled, "Is the World on the Brink of Seeing Revelation 13:4 Fulfilled?" And I believe, yes, it is. That doesn't mean that this will happen tomorrow, but in the coming months or years, this, I believe, is inevitable. And what we're talking about here is this prophecy from the book of Revelation about the world marveling at the power of the Antichrist. Who is able to make war against him? Who is able to fight against the Antichrist? And we go on to talk about how this could happen, what's coming. We talked about this a bit in last week's article on biomimetic drone swarms and how the nature of warfare will be transformed overnight, because this is what future weapons will look like. This is a swarm of bees. And that's what's coming in the future. Now, we've talked about that before, but how do you counter those? And many people are claiming, well, no, this is not what you say it is, Britt, because there are easy counters to these drones. We have directed energy weapons, for instance, high-powered microwave weapons, and even lasers. And so we go through what are some of the options out there right now for countering drone swarms. And what are some of the drawbacks? Are they really able to do that? And I believe the answer is no. And we talk about explicitly why that is and why these weapons will not, these defensive measures will not be able to keep up with the offensive capabilities of the AI-powered drone swarms that are coming. Also, tomorrow on the Substack, stay tuned because we have a Substack exclusive video with the first guest ever on the End Times Bible Prophecy channel. And I believe it may be one of the most important videos we've ever done here. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. That'll be July 10th, Thursday, July 10th at around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Watch for that to come out. So back to this war on cash that they are pursuing. It's right in front of our face. We can see it everywhere we look. We had this right here. We've looked at this before from Euro Weekly. EU clamps down on cash. It says the European Union's tightening its grip on cold, hard cash, slapping a continent-wide cap on how much can be splashed in one go, right? Notice how they use this language. Oh, no big deal, right? From 2027, payments in physical euros will be restricted to a maximum of 10,000 euros across 27 member states. The move aims to crack down on money laundering, shady deals, right? Because that's a legal term, right? Shady deals. And tax dodgers who love to keep things off the books. Right, so all of this is okay because they're going after criminals. Guys, they're going after you. They're going after me. This is all about control and power over the people. And those 10,000 euro limits, well, they're different in different countries within the EU, can be even more restrictive, and eventually all of them will be more restrictive. But we have, well, the Netherlands banned cash payments over 3,000 euros. And then more recently, we had Spain. It says, Spain, despite nationwide blackouts, Spanish government takes criminalization of cash to a whole new level. It says anyone looking to withdraw more than 3,000 euros or dollars of their own money must notify the state in advance, as well as explain the reason for the withdrawal or face fines. So your property is not yours. That's the message. And we see this all across the world. They start out slight, oh, well, you know, Japan, it's not a total war on cash, but storage of cash in safety deposit boxes. You can't do that anymore, right? Or in Turkey to ban cash payments for expensive purchases, right? Well, what's an expensive purchase to Turkey? Well, you read the news story, it's $200. Would you, I mean, now $200, I'm not making light and saying that's not an expensive purchase, but to ban cash for, say, spending $250 or $300, this is where they're going. And then, of course, as inflation takes off, they'll move those levels down even more, which means eventually you won't be able to buy anything with cash, even in Iraq. So there's nowhere in the world to hide. Iraq to ban cash payments at government institutions. Uzbekistan plans to ban cash payments in real estate transactions. So all across the world, doesn't matter where you live, they're working to restrict cash. Israel, United States, Canada, Australia, doesn't matter. Every single nation in the world, you can find instances where they're pushing to ban cash. Now, there are instances of people pushing back against this, but how successful is this going to be? Ultimately, it won't be successful at all. And this is why. So I mentioned this in my book, Racing Toward Armageddon, Why Advanced Technology Signals the End Times. This came out in 2017. We pointed out in that book why a cashless society is inevitable. It's not just a possibility, it's inevitable. It's a necessity of the technological change that is coming. Because once we see molecular manufacturing developed, then quickly thereafter, every home in the world is going to have a desktop nanofactory. What is a nanofactory? Well, that's essentially a manufacturing facility in your house. It fits on a tabletop and can manufacture any object that you want with atomic precision. So right now we order things online and we have them delivered to our home. In the future, you'll order things online and they'll be manufactured right on the spot in your home. Now, we've seen a little bit of a preview of this with 3D printing. And while this appears like 3D printing, it is not, because 3D printing is still top down, whereas molecular manufacturing, nanofactories, is going to be building from the bottom up, from basic molecules, and will be able to create things with atomic precision. So think about the implications that has for physical cash, for currency, and counterfeiters, because this is a dream for counterfeiters. So all the security strips we see now, the watermarks, the different types of materials that are interwoven into bills and different paper currency, all of that stuff will be able to be copied with atomic precision by anyone with one of these, what's going to one day be a basic appliance that every household has. So that means that the only currencies that will still be viable in the future due to advanced technology are going to be gold, silver, and some sort of cryptocurrency. And among that cryptocurrency, you would include central bank digital currencies. Now, gold and silver are highly unlikely to be used for everyday transactions in such a scenario. Why is that? Well, first off, the government's done a pretty good job of convincing people that gold and silver are worthless. They're not real money. Instead, you should use their currency. There's also the problem that while gold and silver can't be counterfeited by these advanced technologies because they're basic elements, you have to have the gold and silver itself, right? So it's just assembling molecules is what desktop nanofactories will do. And they would have to have those gold and silver molecules to put them together anyway. So you're not going to see counterfeiting on that scale, but they could counterfeit coins that appear to look like and have the weight of that. And you wouldn't be able to, the average person wouldn't be able to glance at it and tell whether it's real or not. So basically, people are going to stop accepting these on an everyday level. Now, gold and silver would still retain value in bigger transactions, private transactions as stores of wealth. But really, the only viable option that's going to be left is some sort of cryptocurrency. And we already know the governments of the world are telling us we don't want all these competing cryptocurrencies. So they've been attacking the companies that are behind them, the banks that try to deal with them, and because they want a monopoly on the currency supply. It's what they've had, it's what they want to retain, and they want to take that current monopoly on the global monetary supply, and they want to replace it with a new one that's programmable in nature, that gives them insight and surveillance into every transaction on the face of the earth. No doubt about it, that's what they're pushing for. We read about that, for instance, here. So Russia, the digital ruble will soon be mandatory for banks and major retailers. So when is soon? Well, soon is 2026. So September 1st, 2026, the country's major banks will be required, they're no longer inviting us, right? They're no longer saying, we're offering this, you're going to have the ability to benefit. No, now it's becoming required. We talked about this in the lead up to this for a couple of years now. Nope, soon it's going to be required. So we see the same thing in Europe. European Central Bank sets October 2025 for target, or as a target for digital euro launch. So that's not going to be required in October, but they'll launch it in October as a benefit that you can enjoy, right? As a possibility, one of many possibilities that you can choose from. And then eventually they'll say, well, now it's required. So we know this is how they operate. This is how they roll these things out. And guys, this is what they're pushing for. This is what they want. So we're seeing restrictions on cash, slow and steady. They don't do it all in one big power play where they ban cash overnight. Instead, they say, well, don't you want to stop the criminals, the money launderers? These people, what did they call them in the last article? People engaged in shady deals. Don't you want to stop the shady deals? So unless we ban these cash transactions, you're subject to seeing some shady deals going on, right? We don't want to have that. So they're going to push and push. They'll push those limits down and down and down until they're zero, until it's illegal to use cash of any sort. And then, of course, technologically, we're going to get to a point where people won't accept cash because it will be so easily counterfeited. No one will accept it. And so all that's going to be left are gold and silver, which again, for everyday transactions, most people aren't going to test to see if it's really gold and silver, so they won't accept that either for everyday transactions. And so we're going to be left with cryptocurrencies, with central bank digital currencies. Again, I don't think all of this is coming while we're here. This is likely going to be something rolled out and commonplace during the tribulation period. Because again, once molecular manufacturing comes about, I believe that we have global empire shortly thereafter. And that's when we would see the mark of the beast roll out, is during that same time period. So I believe all these are tribulation events, but guys, we're seeing the build up to this. We're seeing the system being put in place. We're seeing central bank digital currencies, tokenized assets, digital IDs. This is the mark of the beast system, the infrastructure for it, the foundation for it being put in place. Because while there is no Antichrist, there's no beast, and this isn't the mark of the beast that comes during the tribulation. All of these technologies, they're indistinguishable in capability and function from the mark of the beast. So we're seeing that system constructed right before our eyes, right in front of us. And I'll tell you, the overwhelming majority of the world is completely asleep when it comes to this. Even in the church, the overwhelming majority of the church is completely asleep. They aren't paying attention. They don't see this. They need to be paying attention because this is a key sign, one of many signs Jesus and the prophets said to look for. And Jesus himself told us, when you begin to see all these things, know that I am right at the door. Your salvation draws near. So that should fill you with hope, knowing Jesus is coming back. We're nearing the tribulation period, the second coming of Jesus at the end of the tribulation. I believe the Bible teaches clearly that the rapture of the church occurs before the tribulation. So if you know Jesus, you should be filled with joy knowing he can return at any moment. But guys, you should also be filled with a sense of urgent responsibility. An urgent responsibility to share the hope you have in Jesus Christ with as many people as possible, because we live in a lost and dying world in dire need of Jesus. So make sure that you're telling as many people as you can about Jesus. Make sure you're living your life in such a way that people ask you why. That people ask you, why do you have peace in the midst of all this turmoil? I want what you have. And it opens the door to a conversation where you can tell them about Jesus Christ. So guys, make good use of whatever time we have left, because none of us know how much time we have left. But I can tell you, it looks more and more like the time is getting short for all of us. So guys, let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Make sure to be on the lookout tomorrow for that exclusive Substack video, the very first guest we've had on the End Times Bible Prophecy channel, and a video you are not going to want to miss. I believe it may very well be one of the most important videos we've ever done. So let me know what you think. God willing, I will see you on Friday.